that was going to be, inspired by this, by stories. I wanted to, connect generations and do something innovative and new. So first of all, I want to share that, my grandmother has a very, unique story, as everyone is who grew up with during that time. And she was actually at 12 years old. She was separated from her parents, from her family, because she was at a camp, like a kids' camp during the war. She was separated. And for many years, they couldn't find her. And her sister, who was older, wrote letters to all the different camps to try to find her. And finally they did after many years, and they were reunited. And so I just wrote a little nigun, nigunim, like a short, like something that you used to just sing, like a melody, to commemorate my grandmother. And it's kind of entitled "Here I Am" for now. Nai 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 Here I am, 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 here I am. Nai 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 nai. So, there's so much, thank you, there's so much history here, and I won't pretend to know like even a little smidgen, but I've definitely learned a lot. And, some of the themes I think that the songs are going to touch on are identity, like Soviet and Jewish identity. And these are kind of different things, and they coincide. And sometimes, one overpowers the other. And especially when it was kind of taboo to talk about being Jewish, musicians and creatives would kind of hide it. So tonight we're not really hiding it. We're being very loud and proud. And so I want to introduce the next performer, who's Yoel. I recently met him. He's a wonderful singer, and he's going to be, well, you could come. My mom's going to accompany me on a song after this. So he's going to sing a song by Abby Rotenberg called Man from Vilna, written 2003. And some of the themes in this song are, he's this older gentleman who's returning from home, or is returning to Vilna right after the war, and he's totally displaced and everything is gone and the synagogue is burned down, and what do you do now? And there's still a sense of hope. So I think a lot of these songs share that. So Yoel, please take it away.
Okay, thank you. I met a man last Sunday. He was on his way back home from a wedding in Chicago and was traveling alone. He said he came from Vilna, survivor I could tell. And I helped him with his suitcase. He could not walk very well. A steward gave us coffee as we settled on the plain. I asked him why he bothers. At his age, there'd be no blame. He said, no simcha is a burden, although I miss my dear late wife. And then he shared with me the story that has changed my view of life. We danced round and round in circles as if the world had done no wrong. From evening until morning, filling up the show with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah, to clutch close to our hearts. In their place we held the future of the past so torn apart. I remember liberation, joy and fear, both intertwined. Where to go and what to do, and how to leave the pain behind. My heart said, go to Vilna, dare I pray it once again, for the chance to find a loved one, or perhaps a childhood friend. It took many months to get there, from the late spring to the fall. And as I, many others, close to 400 in all, and slowly there was healing, darkened souls now mixed with light, when someone proudly cried out, Simchas Torah is tonight. So we danced round and round in circles, as if the world had done no wrong. From evening until morning, filling up the show with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah, to clutch close to our hearts. In their place we held the future of a past so torn apart. We ran as one towards the shul, our spirits in a trance. We tore apart the barricade, in defiance we would dance. But the scene before our eyes shook us to the core. Scraps of cedar, bullet holes, and blood stains on the floor. Burning to
Oh no, I'm sorry, everyone. Y'all seems muted.
crying, a boy and girl who no one knew. We realized no children were amongst us, but those two. So we danced round and round in circles, as if the world had done no wrong. From evening until morning, filling up the show with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah, together in our arms, in their place we held those children. The Jewish people would live on. We danced round and round in circles, as if the world until morning, filling up the show with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah, together in our arms, in their place we held those children. The Jewish people would live on.
Woo, thank you, y'all.
Yay.
That's such a beautiful, emotional song.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
really did
amazing. Thank you.
So I'm gonna do another cover right now. This is a song that I didn't think it had any kind of Jewish roots. It's a Russian song, Krutitsa Vertitsa, Shar Goluboy. My mom suggested that I do it. Her grandmother used to sing it. And then we looked up some of the history, and indeed there are Yiddish words, and there's a whole Yiddish interpretation, right? That, you know, it's about, you know, asking where is my home, and it's not there anymore. So it's kind of a continuation of the song before. So I'm gonna do all of the different languages for this song that you possibly can. And this is my mom. Wie ist das Gessele, wie ist der Stieb, wie ist das Mädel, wenn man Chobelieb? Wie ist das Gessele, wie ist der Stieb, wie ist das Mädel, wenn man Chobelieb? Wie ist das Gessele, wie ist der Stieb, wie ist das Mädel, wenn man Chobelieb? Крутится, вертится шар голубой, крутится, вертится над головой, крутится, вертится, хочет упасть, кавалер барышню хочет украсть, крутится, вертится, хочет упасть, кавалер барышню хочет украсть. Где эта улица, где это дом, где эта барышня, что я влюблен? Вот эта улица, вот этот дом, вот эта барышня, что я влюблен. Вот эта улица, вот этот дом, вот эта барышня, что я влюблен. Лай-ла-лай-ла-лай. Lai la lai la lai, lai la lai, la 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 lai, lai la lai la lai, lai la lai la lai, lai la lai, la 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 lai. Where is the village, the place of my youth? Where is the boy who kissed me with the truth? Where are the young hearts who sang unafraid? Where are the visions and where have they strayed? Where are the young hearts who sang unafraid? Where are the visions and where have they strayed? Wie ist das Gessele, wie ist der Stieb, wie ist das Mädel, wem in Chobelieb? Nicht mehr das Gessele, nicht mehr der Stieb, nicht mehr das Mädel, wem in Chobelieb? Nicht mehr das Gessele, nicht mehr der Stieb. Nicht mehr des Mädel, wenn man Chobelieb.
Thank you. Amazing.
It's wonderful to discover when a song has these multiple roots, and you know that our ancestors, you know, our family sang it, and now we can kind of breathe new life into it. Thank you, Mom. Okay, she is going to go about her business now. Okay, so next up, we're going to have, so I actually, you know, part of this project is I commissioned some of my fellow musicians to compose music based on the interviews that I've done. So one of the interviews that I did was with a woman named Sophia Grosglin. And, you know, she came from a very musical home. She experienced a lot of persecution with being a refusenik, not being able to leave the Soviet Union in the 70s. Thank you, everyone. And, and so I asked Allison Duggan, she's here somewhere, to compose a piece based on some of the, you know, the emotion that I felt from Sophia. You know, something that she said that was so poignant that I could share just a little quote from her. She said that everyone was concerned with survival, with raising kids. And so she said that's the Jewish story, because at first her grandfather was religious, right? Then her dad and her sisters, they were products of the time. She said she had a typical Soviet childhood, you know, other than not being admitted to study in medical school, probably because she was Jewish. But, you know, they loved art, and they loved theater, they loved culture. And she never thought about faith. You know, she thought about science and chess and raising her kids. She's never pulled to religion. And so that for her, even though, you know, that's true, but during holidays, they would come together for a few hours. And she said it was a very warm Jewish family during those few hours. And I think that's the experience of a lot of Soviet Jews. So Allison, would you please share with us what were your impressions and what I know it's a work in progress, but what you're coming up with?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you so much for having me a part of this. I have my mom here, my dad here. My background, my great grandma came from, we believe, Russia after World War I. So, you know, she didn't really talk about it. So I kind of had that emulation with Sophia, where it's just the struggle and stretch that she went through coming to, you know, immigrating and trying to get, you know, at each hurdle she had to get through. I kind of was able to emulate that. But with this piece, what I decided to do, let me try to screen share it. There we go. So with this piece, I wanted to emulate that part where just for a few hours, it was all music. It was all being Jewish and being a part of our culture, and the rest was surviving. And I think that's something that speaks very true to many people out there and from different backgrounds and religions. And what I decided to do with a lot of this is with a woman quartet and a piano, is depict kind of like her innocence throughout the piece, and it's highlighted with each instrument played. The first time it's played, you know, it's showed with a flute trill, and you know, the first part is that evening of a few hours. The second part is her kind of finding her way through life, and it's very whirlwindy. It's kind of atonal, which is not really atonal. It's a little bit wonky in a way. It feels very unstable. That's how she must have felt for the longest time, and it will continue on to the last part, which I will finish composing. But yeah, I would love to play what I have for you guys. Yep, so I did the sound check. I hope you heard that. And yeah, this was, you know, it was a gift to read her story, and I, you know, it was just very beautiful. And just knowing her passions for Tchaikovsky and Dvorak, who I admire so much as a composer, it was great to see that. So without further ado, this is Sophia's Waltz. So that is what I have so far. And thank you. And, one thing she did mention is her love for piano, and I really want to highlight as much as I can with piano, just to give her a little bit of homage to her. But this has been a really fun project so far to work on, and I'm very excited about it.
Thank you, Allison. Wow, that was, it kind of reminds me of, I think you know more composers than I do, but like Shostakovich and, those modernists. And that's something that, an idea that a lot of artists were there was like tension between, right? Of exploring their Jewish folklore, their traditions. And even Shostakovich, who wasn't Jewish, but he also did do that, right? And also kind of fitting into the modern music. So
Absolutely.
always, right, that tension between the two.
Right, and the thing with Shostakovich, which I always admired him, he had so much struggle because he had, Stalin came to one of his performances and decided that that was his composer. So his first, 15 symphonies was under Stalin's watch, and if anything was like the Ninth Symphony, you can hear him mocking the Russian soldiers, and it's so apparent, and he was almost excommunicated. He went through so much just for his music. So if anybody has time to listen to all 15 symphonies, do so. You can hear this little hints of help me as he's writing, and for him to Ninth Symphony just lay it on, very brave of him. So he's one of my competition heroes. But the speed part I'm figuring out. I want to kind of keep it less modern, but I do want to keep that crunch. So I'm really excited about it.
So I think it's really exciting to be able to hear it progress for everyone. Okay, and also I want to say that this project is ongoing, and if you feel called to donate in any way, I'm going to put my Venmo, and the donations are going to go into paying for recordings eventually of some of this material, right, and getting it up and running so that more people can hear it. So I really appreciate that. And next, we're going to go to Julia Levit, and Marina is, I don't know if Marina is here.
Marina's here, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Marina Abelman.
Somewhere.
They actually have a similar project that they started with COJECO many years ago called Speak Memory Project. And it's an oral history with photography. It's these beautiful captures of Russian Soviet Jews. And in the next piece that we're gonna play, I asked to use one of the interviews that Yulia Marina did and kind of spin off of that. So Yulia and Marina, could you please share a little bit about that experience of interviewing, and what was that like?
We started the project, which is called Speak Memory Project, because we realized that we don't know that many details about lives of our grandparents. And by the time I realized it for myself, my grandfather was gone. So trying to piece it back together, I started going to nursing homes and asking people who were his age about their lives. And at some point I came to COJECO with this project, and I got the Blueprint Fellowship just several years before you, Tanya. And that's how this project started. I was learning as I was going, because I am not a professional interviewer and I never did any project on oral history. And starting from the year 2, Marina joined me, and we continued that project in San Francisco, not only New York.
Okay, wonderful. So did you have anything more to share? Because we're gonna do the premiere of one of the songs.
So you said that you'd like us to show the pictures?
Yes, and you have some pictures. That would be great.
You could probably do like a share screen and run
the
background.
Marina, you want to share the screen, Marina?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on, give me a second. Technology.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting experience meeting all these people and hearing about their life and providing families with the story of their grandparents, because lots of details which they didn't know come up. And this generation is called silent generation, not for nothing, because they were very reserved in telling what they saw in their life. And somehow, I guess the moment was right that they told us what their story was.
Let's see if that's, oh, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, great. And Tatiana, like definitely, thank you so much for inviting us and letting us know about your project. It's an honor to be here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for sharing your work with us, and we can have a collaboration.
Let's see.
Yeah, we're very excited to be part of your project as well. Thank you.
Let's have 2 slides. It talks about the project. Slightly.
Our goal was basically to connect younger generation with grandparents to bridge that gap, because by the time we grow up enough to ask these questions, usually the grandparents are gone. And we wanted to kind of push that conversation to earlier time.
We mostly concentrated on little stories, asking them about little details about their life, which was surprisingly enough, nobody ever asked them about. And that was we never would ask them directly about the main historical events, but we concentrated on little day-to-day things. And I think it was kind of helpful to make a connection, and for them to make a connection to us.
Can we see the photos again?
Sure. I'm actually gonna if you okay, I can do her.
We can just scroll forward. So there's going to be photos with just small quotes from their stories. The full stories are on our website if you want to see it. Read those stories. They're well worth to read.
Sorry, that first person, so that was Yevsey. Abila,
Yes.
whose story is going to be commemorated right now in a beautiful improvisation by Isaac Cohen. So Isaac, get ready.
Do you want me to bring back his photo?
Yeah, we'd love that.
Okay, hold on.
And Isaac, not Isaac, if CA was a soldier during World War II, and there was, of course, very conflicting feelings of victory and then, you know, post-war experienced a lot of anti-Semitism with neighbors tattling and you know, trying to get them in trouble for various things. And then there was one piece of that story that during Passover, they had to cook everything because they were sharing the house, this, you know, communal apartment with like 6 other families, or like a lot of people, right? He had to cook everything in their room separate from the kitchen. They couldn't show anyone, you know, their matzah or anything, the Seder. So Isaac, are you here? Maybe. He is. I see him in here. Just bear with us, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure if he's. Well, we can come back.
Isaac is here.
He is here.
His
Yeah.
camera is off.
I'm here.
Oh, great.
Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. I have company. Hold on, wait. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Can you see me too?
We can see you too.
Okay, that's great. So everything is in order then. I missed the intro. I turned my thing off for a second, the audio off. I have company. I have very esteemed company over here. So what do I need to know?
We were just telling a little bit about the project, and Tatiana told a bit about the story of Yossi, which you wrote the music for.
That's right. Now I do write music, but I didn't write the piece that I sent to Tatiana. I improvised it. And I have a limitation, which is that my improvisations are once in a lifetime occurrences. So Tatiana, I can't even attempt to reproduce that. It's a different time of day, different season, different energy. I have to just play the music of this moment. Okay?
Sounds great.
I hope it'll serve. But the improvisation, I mean, if you want to hear my same compositions, my books that I publish, you know, but the improvs are special. It's fleeting. By the way, if you have a recording of any, oh no, that's Yulia. We'll talk another time. All right, so of the last performance, I'm kind of curious about that. And if you're recording this, I would like to get.
We are.
If it goes well, I don't know.
All right, take it away. We can't wait to hear. Wow, that's so beautiful. I
Thank
think
you.
there's something especially poignant about instrumental music and piano, you know, as a way to process the stories and the emotions and just sit with it and you kind of feel it wash over you.
That's my improvisation is very much in line with that idea. It's like a way of digesting the emotions or the energy of a moment. You know, my compositions can take a month to put together, and it's like note by note and hours of editing. This is much more of just like a raw expression of a very
Mm,
speak. No two are alike.
of course, like snowflakes. And it's beautiful just having the perspective, right? That's what music,
Like
and I
melter.
think, yeah, Dimitri's going to talk a little bit more about music here, how this all intertwines with the Jewish perspective. But yeah, having that distance from the actual event and then seeing it in a totally different way. So next up, thank you, Isaac. I want to invite Olga Tenenbaum. Olga, I met at another COJECO event, and
Hi.
she has, you know, I told her about this project, and she shared that she has her own family story that's really like, you can't believe this, right? But but you know, these things happened a lot probably. It was Russians helping Jews and during the war. So please, Olga, share a little bit about your story, and then we're gonna have Masha Brodskaya. She's gonna do just like a wow your socks off improvisation with. Maybe I won't share what it is. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, hi. Thank you for inviting me. I try to write down my story because it's a little bit hard to me speak English all the time. My name is Olga, as Tanya said. I live in New York. I was born and raised in Ukraine, Odessa. My mom is Russian and that is Jewish, but they divorced when I was 7, and I was raised but completely Russian family. And when I was I don't remember, like 14 years old, I started realize that my Russian grandma has a Jewish sister, and it was a little bit strange. And I started asking how it happens, how happened that you have a Jewish sister if you're Russian. And the story raised. The story was my grandfather. He has a sister. She was arrested in 1942 for saving Jewish boy, and her neighbors extradited her for this, and she ended up in prison. And there she met a girl, 16 years old, a girl named Manya, who along with her entire family ended up in a group of death row prisoners who were shot in Slobodka in Odessa. There was a dark, huge moat, and people fell one on the top of other. And when they started shooting, someone told this girl fall before they start shooting, and she fell. She fell, and she remains alive. At night, she crawled out from the all of these corpses, and completely naked began to make her way, not knowing where. And she wasn't caught again. And since she doesn't have a document, she was taken to temporary detention center. And there she met my grandmother and told her the story about herself. And when the relative on my grandmother brought her food, she talked about these girls, and it came that my grandmother from the other side, she has a certificate of birth of the little girls who died when she was like 2 years old, and she can give this birth certificate to Manya because they almost same age, like 16 years old. And documents were provided, and Manya, now her name was Galina, was released. But the question was, she has never she had nowhere to go. Since all her relative was killed. And my family took her, and she lived with my family until 44, until Odessa was released. And it's almost like 2 years. And despite the fact Manya Galina had a new document, the fear of what she came through was so big that it not leave her all the time. And it was a thing. Some days she came to visit her new brother, son of my grandmother. And the story was that several German soldiers, they lodged, and they knew that they lodged in the same building where the Manya live. they knew that until Manya's appearance, my grandma doesn't have a daughter named Galina. It was suspicious, and she was afraid. And one day it was when Germans came, she hid behind some furniture and sat there until the night, and she was very, very scared. In 1944, Manya went to her when Odessa was relieved. She went to her house where she lived with her parents in Odessa, and she got married, gave a birth to 2 children, and they immigrated to Boston around 1985. And I would like to say that as far I remember, our family, my grandmother family and Galina's family, we were all together all these years, and they passed their story. I know it never was told like something to brave or something like that. My grandmother told me they did it because it was right things to do, and this is it. And thank you to let me share the story of my family, because I know I'm very proud of my grandmother and this part of family, because they risked their life and life for their family, but they did it, and it's a great, and I remember it, and I tell it to my children, and I think it's it was like a story that should be presented to the world.
Thank you,
Thank
Olga.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So with this, thank you for sharing. So with this project, you know, it's like words have a meaning, but you know, music has this almost transcendent quality that we can experience like as if we were there, or as if, you know, we could feel the emotion. So that's really what I wanted to capture with this project. And I'm really lucky to have Masha here today. She was trying to shush me because I think maybe something's not totally working for her.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for having me. And it's such a great project, such a great gathering. Hi, everyone. I was just worried actually that we would have an accompaniment of the background of the huge, like, multi-thousand protest that was kind of like moving my direction, but feels like they came down. So, hi everyone again, and my name is Masha Brudskaya. I was born in Russia. I grew up in Ukraine, in a boarding school for musically gifted children. And then I went to Moscow and I graduated from Russian Academy of Music. And then I came here to the States, to New York. And I'm from a Jewish family as well. And all this Jewish history and Jewish stories, of course, you know, like, and everything that our folk has been through is very close to my heart. Olga, thank you so much for such a fascinating story. It's really moving. It's really incredible, and it's really inspiring on so many different levels. You know, on the level of living, supporting others, on the level of overcoming fear, on the level of creating. You know, to celebrate life no matter what. And thank you so much again for this story. And today, well, in terms of the Jewish story, you know, my great-grandfather was claimed to be an enemy of the people and shot dead in 1937. And his wife spent 17 years in Gulag. And my grandmother lived through all her life, you know, being like a daughter of an enemy of the people, and like faced a lot of anti-Semitism. And even in my school, you know, I faced some. And I'm grateful for having a chance to know that, you know, that I know it, that I've been through something as well, because it's something that helps me understand, you know, better, understand other people, understand the history of our folk, the history of this world, you know, and the history of different conflicts. And so yeah, you know, like there's this expression, love your fate. So I love my fate, and I'm grateful for everything that I've been through. And you know, I've had in my life, you know, like I've had a lot of drama. So I've tried to move from drama from my life to move it to have drama in my music. And I very much loved what Isaac said. By the way, great improv, my friend. I very much loved what he said about improvisation as such a powerful form, you know, that actually, well, you never know how it's gonna go. So you know, I like improvisation has been one of my favorite, maybe just my favorite form and shape of live performance. Though I've been writing a lot, you know, for myself, for others, for other people, artists. And my first EP, my first album actually is called Enemy of the People, you know, that I wrote in the memory of my great grandfather. So what I'm gonna do here tonight, inspired by Olga's story and all similar stories, I'm gonna do my improv, and gonna use piano and violin. That's, well, so we'll see how it's gonna go. Tanchka, how much time do I have so I can kind of limit myself?
Let's say like 5.
Okay,
That's
well, yeah, because, well, you know, Isaac knows that sometimes, you know, when you get to the zone, you know, you kind of just like, oh, I don't know, like you just lose the sense of time.
Mm-hmm.
And another beautiful thing about improv is that you see the unknown, you know, and the spontaneous. It's something that brings the subconscious, you know, and that's what I love, especially about the improvisation.
We'll try to keep it to 5. We have one more, and then I'm going to finish off with a song. But
okay, I'll do my best to control myself, not to go too far like into the outer space. Okay.
it's gonna be.
You can hear me okay? Yeah. Hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Wow. I think I speak for everyone that we wish that it would go on forever, and we wish we were in the room with you.
No, like in the second, I was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to repeat kind of something that I started with, you know, to just like shape it up a little bit and kind of just
Well, that was amazing hearing that motif repeat again, and then just going through all of those. There's we talked about the fear, risking your life, right, to save someone, and then sort of the sadness. There's like this. There's oh wow, just really elicited so many emotions. Masha, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Like I was going to use my EEG just to play also music from the brainwave impressions, but I couldn't figure out because I actually use the app on my phone and it didn't work together simultaneously with Zoom. So I think next time we definitely can come up with like when I figure out a little better way, and so I can also perform like my brainwaves music simultaneously with improvisation. Much for listening, guys, and I would love to stay in touch with all of you and with your beautiful organization. Thanks so much, guys, for what you've been doing with like helping amazing artists, you know, to realize some amazing projects. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, Masha has a lot of brilliant ideas as well. So yeah, you follow all of the artists, of course.
Thank you, Masha. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We want to we have just a little bit more time. Thank you everyone for sticking around. This is our sort of first attempt to, you know, collect people and kind of have it be storytelling and music and be interesting and have a good flow. So, you know, please excuse if there's any kind of lag, but you know, I think we're getting a lot out of it. So I want to introduce Dmitry and Erica. They are my friends in Harlem who I've been attending Shabbat for the last like year or so, maybe more. And they founders of Based in Harlem, and I don't know if you guys founded Kialat or yes, yeah. So they're like educators, musicians, just all around really excellent people. And so I wanted them to offer, you know, sort of a spiritual perspective on music, and yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tatiana. Здравствуйте всем. Hi, everybody. Going to keep it in English for the most part, but I just want to say how grateful I am for this opportunity and how amazing it is to see all of us together on a Zoom call. Even in times like this, we're able to create virtual community. You know, Rabbi Heschel talks about making sanctuaries in time, right? He says Shabbat is a sanctuary in time. It's an opportunity for us to together create like a little sandcastle, right? And we know that it's only temporary, it's going to be here and it's going to go away, but in the moment while we have it, we can hold on to it and we can inhabit it. And so I appreciate Tatiana, you and everybody at COJECO and all the participants to allow us to create this little moment, this little sanctuary in time. I'm also really grateful that my mom and my aunt are here. That's really cool. They don't always have a chance to hear me talk, and I'm really grateful for them being here. So you may or may not know that our tradition has a lot to say about music, and I could fill more than an hour of that, but in the interest of time and patience, I'm going to just keep it brief. And I'll just share a couple thoughts, a couple ideas that I came across in preparing for this. So when we started tonight, Yoel mentioned Vilna. And there's a famous rabbinic figure from that city called the Vilna Gaon, the genius of Vilna, Rabbi Eliyahu Kramer. And he's considered kind of one of the bright intellectual and Talmudic lights of our people for you know, in the past many hundreds of years. And he lived in I think the 1700s. And he said something that's really, I think, pertinent to what we're talking about today. He said, and I'll paraphrase and translate in English, he said, although speech is the language of the intellect, music is the language of the soul. And he also said that the majority of the secrets of Kabbalah or Jewish mysticism can be found in music, meaning people spend many years engrossed in the deep mysteries of the Torah, and apparently we can find all that in music as well. And I think it's worthwhile to reflect on what that exactly means. And for those of us who are musicians or musically inclined, I think we understand a little bit what that means, that we are able to, as musicians and as creators of music and appreciators of music, to be able to tap into this kind of universal consciousness, this flow, this shafa, right, this kind of emanation from above, and connect both across time and across space, right? Music, unlike language, right, doesn't necessarily force the thought or the idea or the conception into a narrow constricted lane, right? A word is much more clearly delimited, and the word happens. Music is a collection of individual moments that we need to, with our memory and with our collective experience and with our ear and with our background and with kind of the internal spiritual tuning that we have and the tuning of socialization and culture, we make meaning out of that. And it can hold much more meaning simultaneously than any individual word can. And so in that way, it's much more of a spiritual vessel, which is why the nigun, right, the wordless melody, is such a powerful Jewish tool for connection with the divine. Because it doesn't insist or demand upon you to make only one meaning. It allows for multiple meanings. It allows for a diversity of meanings. It allows for tension within meanings, and it allows for paradox within meanings. And what are we if not walking paradoxes, right? As Soviet Jews, as immigrants, as Americans, we are a collection of counterintuitive, unlikely concepts. And that's why I think the meetings like this, evenings like tonight are so important. We find music being referred to in many of the prophetic works of our tradition. In the Book of Kings, Malachim, Elisha the prophet is said to be inspired to prophecy by hearing instruments, by hearing music. There's a depiction where he basically says, "Come, bring me a musician," and the musician starts playing, and our tradition teaches that as the musician played, the hand of God, as it were, Yad Hashem, it actually says, came upon Elisha, and Elisha was able to prophesy. In other words, the prophecy, in a sense, was dependent to a certain degree on the ability to hear music, right? On hearing the music, and the music kind of uplifting and inspiring the prophet, meaning, yes, these are great people who have access to some kind of divine emanation, but they still need a conduit, they still need a way in. And for many of them, that way in was music. And the reason for that, our tradition teaches us, is because of this concept of Ruach HaKodesh, which is just divine inspiration. And our tradition teaches us that divine inspiration, which is a prerequisite for having that kind of clarity, that kind of prophetic insight, can only rest upon a person when they're in a state of simcha, a state of joy, a state of ecstasy, right? You're not going to be able to tap into that in a state of sadness. There are some even Jewish legal positions, halacha positions, that you shouldn't pray if you're sad. You should wait until you're happy, or you should do something that makes you happy, like sing. And then you will kind of be in the right frame of mind to be able to connect, to be able to have that dialogue with the divine. And so music was a medium, it was a mechanism in order to actuate and kind of turn on that spiritual antenna. And the music was able to bring Elisha and many other prophets of his ilk to a state of Ruach HaKodesh, to a state of his divine inspiration. And I think for us, we can, though we might not have access to that same level of prophecy directly, I think that the prophetic voice has always been strong within our people. And the prophetic voice is something that we, both as Jews separately and as residents or descendants of people of the former Soviet Union, and as an amalgamation of the two, I think we understand the need for the prophetic voice, the utility of the prophetic voice, and the urgency, right, that the prophetic voice brings, right? It's the voice, it's the cry in the public square of care and love, but also rebuke and also concern. And especially in today's world, we need that prophetic voice more than ever. You know, the word for song in Hebrew is shir, but in Mishnaic Hebrew, in the Hebrew of the Mishnah, that word comes across in other contexts also. That word also is the word for a ring, right? And it's interesting to think about why would the sages of our tradition, why would the people who kind of developed this Hebrew language want to connect the word song with the word for a ring, right? And I think it's clear that it links the past and the present and the future, right? As a circle, as a continuum. And that's what a song does. A song allows us to tap into the past. It allows us to be present in the moment. It allows us to express our longings for a future and to leave something, to leave a legacy, to leave a story behind for those people that are coming after us. It brings people together. It unites people, just like a ring does. A ring is an emblem. It's a symbol of unity. It's a symbol of continuity. It's a symbol of oneness. And because of that, it's without limitation. There's an infinite number of points. There's an infinite number of dots. And for us too, I think, and this is the blessing that I want to leave us with, that there should be an infinite number of opportunities for us to encircle ourselves and each other and try to use the tools that our tradition has given us to realize both the prophetic voice of our tradition and understand what it's saying, because it's not just speaking to a people then there, it's also speaking to people here now. And I don't think that we would be free people in this country if we weren't able to heed the voice of desire, of hope, of dreaming, of unfulfillment, but of passion. I don't think any of us would be here now. I think we would still be there. And the fact that we're here means we understand the need for a prophetic voice. And music can be a fantastic and essential conduit for that. So I want to bless us all that we should have the strength, we should have the internal strength to find our own internal prophetic voice, and to find the community and to find the public square where that voice is most needed. Because I don't know if you've been following the news lately, but that voice is sorely, sorely needed in the public square, in the Jewish square, in the Russian immigrant square, in the American square, and in the international arena. That prophetic voice is needed now more than ever, at least in my generation. So thank you everybody for participating. Thank you for being here and for sharing your music and sharing your attention, for being active listeners. And for me as a musician and as somebody who is, God willing, one day maybe will be a rabbi and studies, and Erica and I have worked hard to try to help cultivate and build Jewish community here in Harlem, and Tatiana is an important part of that. It's so inspiring for me to see people who share my background and who share the collective trauma and joy of what our background brings to us, come together and share with music. So thank you everybody for listening. I'd love to talk to any and all of you more about all of these things, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna throw it back to Tatiana. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for giving me.
Thank you so much, Dima and Erica. Hello. I'm definitely gonna go back to the live recorded version and just listen to that over and over. I feel like it really touched me. And just so true. And it, what struck me when we're talking about having joy and, prophecy and joy, being together. But so many of these songs that are passed down were written by people in the most horrendous, circumstances. And how are they able to experience joy and write this beautiful poetry about what they were seeing and going through? That's just totally baffling to me. Which could be maybe in a whole other thing. So I want to conclude tonight's sermon. I feel like it just really elevated through the music and through the speech with a song that I wrote a few months back about one of the people I interviewed. And, her story, Mila, was really sad, like a lost childhood. She was an orphan to a Jewish mother who was alive. And so that, knowing that, her mother just didn't want her. And something that she said, she discovered at the orphanage that she had a great talent for music and she really wanted to play piano and sing, but she just didn't have those opportunities. So she said, my song, because I asked her if her life was a song, what would it be? She said, my song is very sad. And it's a phase in humanity, in a life. I loved music, how I dreamed of playing piano. I had to give everything to my kids. She said, I don't believe in God and I don't do palm readings because they never tell me anything good. But one time she did this palm reading in Baltimore that said, and this woman told her that you're not to blame because her whole life she was holding on to the blame of her mother leaving her, of her husband. There was some difficulty with that, but throughout everything she had this hope, and her friends would say that she had these rose-colored glasses about people. She was just so trusting of people, and she never asked her mom for help after that. So I wanted to capture some of those emotions. It was a very emotional interview for her, for sure, and for me. And so I wrote a song called Orphan of Love. And it kind of speaks about just it's universal. Like we're sort of orphans in some way. We feel like we don't belong or we feel displaced. So you know, I wanted to capture this could be for everyone, but, you know, it also was inspired by just this one woman's story. So thank you everyone for joining. Can't leave someone in misery. I learned from my mother who left me after the war. Odessa in 44, she was up to her old tricks, made me an orphan of love, marooned on an island, fresh out of luck with so much to give. Orphan of love, waiting for you to take me home. We make our fate with our own hands. The first man who called me is where I'd land, his heart as pure as the vodka he endured. How was I to know he was an orphan of love, marooned on an island, fresh out of luck with so much to give. Orphan of love, waiting for me to make him whole, to make him whole. Orphan of love, the past all behind me, ready for love with so much to give. Orphan of love with you now beside me, not giving up, not giving in. Orphan of love, orphan of love. Finally found a place to call my own, a place to call my own. Orphan of love. I finally found a place to call my own. And some of those words too are just directly, thank you, directly, you know, the quotes, things that she told me, and they're just so like poignant and poetic. Yeah. So that's Orphan of Love, and that's the concert. And I want to thank everyone. Yay. I mean, wow. I'm
Tanya,
so
thank you so much. Amazing. Tanya, thank you. This was incredible. Thank you to all the musicians that participated tonight. Thank you to everyone who took an hour and a half of their evening and joined us here tonight to learn more about Tatiana's Blueprint project and also about other projects. Please follow COJECO on Facebook or check out our website. And once we're ready to start a new cohort, we are going to be very excited to see everyone who performed or participated here tonight to apply in the future. Again, thank you so much. This was absolutely beautiful. And
thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Masha, Isaac, Yol, Dima, and
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Big round of
everyone.
applause.
Оля, thank you.
Аня, молодец.
Again.
This is very fun. We'll definitely do it again.
Thank you very much. It was amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Here's to doing it again. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good to see everyone.
Bye.